and talent management executive in Fortune 500 companies. He's a two-time entrepreneur, founding a 501c3 nonprofit, Veteran Career Journey, and for-profit advisory firm Kiefer and Associates Limited, and has authored and self-published the top-selling Military Career Transition Insights from the Employer Side of the Desk in 2021, and Veteran Career Journey, More Insights from the Employer Side of the Desk in 2023. Bill works with multiple veteran service organizations and programs across the nation, including the Honor Foundation, the Special Operations Transition Foundation, Three Rangers Foundation, the U.S. Air Force Special Operation Command's Ascent and PATH programs, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's Hiring Our Heroes program. Additionally, he is an independent coach and advisor focused on military career transition, executive leadership and development, and strategic talent management, who has trained and coached over 2,000 service members, veterans, and civilian leaders across the multiple industries. He sounds like he's been very busy. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Bill Kiefer.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Holy smokes, is that thing turned up well? Okay. It's really hard to follow those speakers. Holy smokes. I'll try to live up even close to your standard. Wow. Well, it's an honor and a privilege to be here this evening to celebrate our state and nation's veterans. Our veterans, those great folks who stood up to our nation's call. They defended against forces that intended to do us harm. I'm the son of a veteran. My dad was an Army physician in Korea shortly after the ceasefire. I'm the grandson of a veteran. My granddad was a World War I veteran. I'm the nephew of 3 World War II veterans. One a Coast Guardsman who served in Greenland, one was a Navy nurse, and an uncle who landed on Utah Beach on D-Day. I'm the great-grandnephew of a cavalry soldier who served in the Dakotas in the 1870s. I'm the father of 3 veterans, one who served as a U.S. Army military police officer, and 2 who still wear the uniform today. My oldest son is a naval officer, and my next oldest son is a U.S. Army chaplain. And as you heard, I am a veteran. I served for over a decade as a U.S. Army officer with time in Central America in the 80s. I was on the ground in Florida in '92 when Hurricane Andrew went through. Shortly after that, I went to Somalia for Operation Restore Hope. That operation that preceded the horrific Black Hawk Down experience. For the veterans in my family that preceded me, the uniform eventually came off and they returned to their civilian lives, changed in various ways by their service, but value-adding members of society nonetheless. My transition from the military was tough. An unexpected change in my life journey sparked a fork-in-the-road decision that I was not prepared for. I resigned my commission while I was on the promotion list to major in order to do the best I could for my 3 then small kids. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. And quite frankly, I stumbled for a few months. Eventually, I got my feet up underneath me and had the career that was described a few moments ago. I'm mindful that our career journeys and our life journeys are inextricably linked, and each impacts the other. In 2018, my life journey took another turn. I had a massive heart attack, out of the blue. Apparently over 2 decades of 70-hour weeks and 70% global travel, and the untreated remnants of my military service took a toll. The doctor said I should take 6 months off before I even think about going back to work. I went back in 7 weeks because, you gotta go to work, right? I was miserable. Now, the fact that I worked in Ann Arbor, Michigan, probably didn't make it any better. Okay? Seeing how miserable I was, my wife asked me a question that I think is critically important to service members that are considering transition, and quite frankly, anyone in career transition. She said, let me ask you this. Do you want to make income or do you want to make an impact? And as soon as she asked the question, I knew the answer. I wanted to make an impact. And I knew the impact I wanted to make was with and for veterans. I wanted to help close that culture gap that stands between veterans and employers. Having experienced both sides of the career transition desk, as a veteran and then as an employer, I was acutely aware of this culture gap and the impact that it has on both employers and veterans. I knew I had something unique to offer. Since 2018, I've trained over 2,000 service members and veterans for success before, during, and after career transition. I've authored the books that were referred to earlier, and I've facilitated the donation of over 3,000 copies of those books to service members and veterans nationwide. I'd like to share a few things I've learned along the way in those experiences. First, veterans bring many capabilities that business and communities want and need. They have job skills. Each branch of the military has hundreds of different job specialties for which they provide rigorous training, from IT and cyber to engineering and construction, from finance and medicine, supply chain, logistics, HR, public affairs, and many more. Our veterans are more than door kickers, trigger pullers, and forklift operators. Our veterans have soft skills: communication, decision-making, problem-solving, and more. The demands of military service require them to develop these skills to the very best of their potential. They have a great sense of purpose. They've done things that matter, and they generally want to continue serving some better purpose, some bigger purpose, something more meaningful. Many seek to do this via their career, some via their faith, and some via community service. At the start of their career transition, however, they may not know exactly what that purpose is or how they're going to go make it happen. But that sense of purpose is undeniable. Our veterans are agile. They're able to work successfully in ever-changing environments, and they understand teamwork to a level most civilians will never understand. You see, from the very first days of basic training, it's all about the team. It's about we, not me. Now, the downside of that is, when our veterans come out for their first civilian job interviews, and they're talking to someone who maybe isn't real familiar with military veterans, they start talking about the we. And us crusty old HR folks go, we? I'm not hiring we, I'm hiring you. What did you do? It's an area that our veterans can easily be trained in if they understand the difference. Our veterans are adept at working cross-culturally and cross-functionally. They know that no one succeeds alone, and a broad range of others involved in the party actually helps success. Their work ethic also often eclipses their non-veteran counterparts. As veterans begin their career transition efforts, they often struggle to define themselves outside of their rank, grade, MOS, AFSC, or career field. I know when I got out, I had absolutely no idea who I was if I wasn't Captain Kiefer. Now that said, veterans tend to be pretty quick studies. And with some coaching and insight and direction, they're able to define who they are, what they're bringing to the party, and what they consider success to be. Similarly, with a little bit of coaching, they're able to get past the mill-speak and veteranese that is so natural to their tongue. For example, if someone here tonight were to ask me what did I do in the military, I could tell them that I was a logistics officer that served global deployments, and I'd talk about that. Or I could say, I was a 90 Alpha 5 Papa 3 Romeo. My guess is that wouldn't mean much to most folks in the room. And what I found with dealing with all these service members and veterans, and when they do that, they speak in the mill-speak and veteranese tongue, people discount them. We need to help them not do that. So what can community and business leaders do to best engage veterans? We know that finding quality, reliable people to join our teams is a never-ending grind. We continually seek top talent to fill our business ranks and support and serve our communities. Finding team members that are capable of handling evolving challenges, making decisions, solving problems, and persevering in the face of adversity is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack sometimes. I'm going to suggest that engaging with the veteran talent pool might be a game changer for your business and your community. So a few thoughts on how to make that happen. Be mindful that different doesn't mean bad. 93% of the population never served in uniform. Think of that. 93%. Less than 1% of the American population puts on the uniform these days. That number, that disparity is only going to get worse. The vast majority of us haven't walked the walk or talked the talk that veterans have. And if you're willing to engage, you might just find the great talent you seek. If you're really interested in adding veterans to your team, to your organization, meet them where they are. Go to the job fairs, the networking events, the similar gatherings around military bases. Get to know the folks who run the career transition centers. Build relationships with them so they keep you informed of upcoming events and connect you with great talent. Excuse me. Make sure you get beyond the biases and perceptions. Most veterans aren't broke. Most veterans aren't heroes. Most veterans are good folks with quality experience, with great potential to add value to your business and your communities. Realize that veterans all engage differently with their military experience. Some see it as an important, impactful step on their life journey. Some hated their time in uniform and they want to forget all about it. Some loved it, but they get stuck there, having difficulty extricating themselves from their time in uniform. Be thoughtful when you're building veteran-friendly programming so you can make the best possible, broadest impact. Once you have veterans on your team, engage them, leverage their capabilities, set solid goals, give them feedback, and listen to them. They have insights that can add real value. Next, realize that veterans are used to robust career management. Whether one joined the military as an enlisted E1 or an officer O1, the career progression expectations to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on are pretty clear, and they're robustly communicated. If your organization is like most and career management is maybe not quite so well developed, be transparent. Let your veterans know that early on so they understand what they're getting into. Engage with veteran service organizations, whether the Ohio Department of Veteran Services, your county veteran service office, nearby VA offices, or myriad other veteran service organizations. DAV, Legion, VFW, IAVA, the list goes on and on. Make contact, be present, engage with these groups, get beyond the platitudes to create meaningful dialogue and relationships that support both your interests and veteran interests. Among the other things I do, I serve as a County Veteran Service Commissioner in Ottawa County. I see the difficulties some veterans experience over time. Many of these are exacerbated by a lack of outreach and engagement, and I am absolutely certain that with earlier, more consistent community awareness and engagement, the difficulties that veterans face can be mitigated before crises arise that ruin their lives, diminish their potential to serve our communities, and create avoidable expenses for our local, county, state, and federal coffers. With a little bit of effort and attention, the culture gap that stands between veterans and employers can be bridged, helping veterans build successful career and life journeys, and helping businesses and communities achieve their goals and potential. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here this evening. It truly has been a genuine pleasure. I'm happy to connect and chat further with anyone. May God bless us all, and may God bless America.